Hello, I'm Steve Shaw, National Coordinator of Football Officials and Secretary of Rules Editor for the NCAA. And today we're continuing our in-season training videos for 2022, and we're going to be focused on game action from Week 4. Now, it was another exciting week of college football. We had a very good week as officials as well. Some things to work on, as we'll see in this video, but let's keep the momentum going. Scoring for the year is up. We're averaging 56.4 points per game, and that's up about 1.3 points per game over last year. And that may be contributing to our game time. We're averaging 3 hours and 21 minutes, and that's up about 3 minutes over last year. So we'll continue to take a look at that. Now, from a targeting perspective, in FBS, we've enforced 63 targeting fouls. That's 1 in every 5 games. So we're being very consistent from the numbers perspective, but we've had 2 players earn their second targeting foul for the year, and we know that's significant because if they get their third, then they have to sit out the entire next game. So hopefully they'll work on their player behavior. And with that, let's get straight on into our video. Our first play this week, the offense has 1st and 10 at the plus 41, and the quarterback's going to scramble and throw the ball away, but he never gets outside the tackle box, and the crew's going to come together. They're going to take some time to discuss this, and then the referee is going to drop the flag for intentional grounding. Now, during this time, the box had already flipped to 2nd down, and then we announced loss of down at the spot of the foul, and so now the box moves back to that spot and then changes to 3rd down. Now, the next snap, which should be 2nd down, we can see the box is on 3rd down, and the offense gains a yard to the 48. And so the next snap, the offense is going to punt on what everyone thinks is 4th down, but it's really 3rd down, and then we've got a fair catch just inside the 5. Now, during the TV timeout, replay is going to go back and run through the plays, and after a very long review, we're going to reset the ball to 3rd down back at the 48-yard line and rerun 3rd down. And that's properly done by replay. Now, on the 3rd down play, the offense doesn't make the line to gain, so they're going to punt again, this time on the true 4th down. So on the field, I cannot believe 8 officials using their down indicator properly missed this. And really, if one had have just stopped and talked about this, talked it through, we would have corrected it. So don't just use your down indicator as muscle memory or as a pacifier. Use it properly, trust it, and question if you're not in sync with the down box. And then finally, the clock. So replay overturns this, and so by rule, we know that there's no clock adjustment required because we're not inside 2 minutes and a half. And we also know that the instant replay official, if there's time lost, it has a significant impact on the game. They can invoke 12-3-7 and restore time. But this is a special situation. And when we are actually voiding a play, we should go back to the time at the snap of that play that we're voiding. So we snapped at 10:37. So we could have reset the clock to 10:37, replay 3rd down, and let it start on the snap. But bottom line, let's all work as a crew to be better. Play 2, we're in the first extra period, and the offense is lined up to kick an extra point after scoring a touchdown. Now we're going to see number 3 for the defense. He's lined up clearly more than 1 yard from the line of scrimmage at the snap. Now he's going to run forward and leaps in an attempt to block the kick. Now he may have tried to hit a gap, but he leaps through the plane above the frame of the left guard, and this is a foul. And remember, this was put in as a player safety rule because these leapers were getting flipped over and coming down on their head. And in this case, number 3, he does get tipped over, but he lands, fortunately, face down on his chest. And there may be times that there are gaps in a punch shield that a player can leap through, but on an extra point or field goals, there are few gaps in the interior of the line. So this is a foul, and this is the type action the rule was put in place to prevent. Play 3, let's set the scene here. We're late in the 4th quarter. The offense is behind by 1 point, but in great position to kick the game-winning field goal. And they seem to be in no hurry, and it looks as if they'd like to kick the field goal with as little time left on the clock as possible. Now, the defense has 2 timeouts left, and the offense, with the game clock and play clock running, they stay in the huddle, and they're going to break when the play clock gets to about 10 seconds. Now, as the play clock goes under 5, we get a flag for a false start by the offense. We penalize the 5 yards. The game clock is now at 1 minute 53 seconds, so it's under 2 minutes. But we know that 3-4-3B does not apply because the fouling team is not ahead or tied in the score. But 3-4-3 also gives the referee broad authority in starting or stopping the game clock. Now, we start the clock on the ready for play here, and I really think this is a case where we should consider starting the clock on the snap, since the offense has had the opportunity to run a full play clock already, and they really want to consume time in this situation. Ultimately, the defense uses their 2 timeouts, and the offense snaps for their field goal attempt with 1:17 left on the clock after the defense has used their final timeout. So something to think about. Talk about this as a crew. Play 4 is going to be a 2-play vignette, and we're going to talk about blocking below the waist and coach behavior. Now, our first play, the offense is going to run the jet sweep with the right tackle pulling and leading the play. And we're going to see defensive back number 1 comes up. He's going to take on this lead blocker, and the referee gets a flag out for an illegal block below the waist by number 1 of the defense. Now, as we go back and take a look at the close-up replay, the defender makes initial contact clearly above the waist, and this is just not a foul. Headline judge, could you have helped? This is right in your field of vision, and maybe help take the referee off of this or certainly have a conversation about it. So let's be sure we see all the action and where the contact was initiated when we make this call. But this call is no excuse for the actions of this coach. His demonstration is prolonged. He's out on the field, and I know we tried to walk him back for a moment, but we may be hesitant to make this call if we think we may have missed a call on the field. But this is too much, way too much by the coach, and a flag would be proper and in order here. Now, our second play, we're just going to show our referee's announcement after a replay review where targeting is created from the replay booth and the coach's reaction.
After review, there is targeting on the play. Personal foul, targeting on the defense number 95. The penalty is half the distance to the goal from the previous spot.
Bullshit call!
This is a good job by this referee not to hesitate at all here. Play 5 is going to be a discussion about technology. Now, we know by rule players are prohibited from being equipped with any electronic or other signaling device for the purposes of communicating with any source. Now, there are a couple of exceptions in the rules: the hearing aid of the sound amplifier type and a device for transmission and reception of data specifically and only for purposes of player health and safety. And many teams wear chips in their shoulder pads or wherever that provide bio and medical monitoring of the players, and that's okay. But what we see here is a player wearing an Apple Watch, and this is not allowed by rule. Now, the crew did a good job. They asked the player to remove the watch, and he did. And it's not allowed for 2 reasons. Number 1, there's some safety issues. Don't want to injure himself or another player. But number 2, and most importantly, is these new watches can send and receive messages. And not that this player or the team even considered it, but they could be used to signal plays or info to players electronically on the field. So that's why these are not allowed. I'm sure our rules committee will continue to discuss technology in the offseason and consider things of this nature, but for now, these are not legal. Play 6, we're going to discuss a progress point. Now, we get a pass by the offense. It's complete to the receiver, and the ruling on the field is that the receiver made the line to gain, which was the 17-yard line. Now, on the replay, we see the receiver, he drives upfield to just about the 13-yard line, and then he's going to come back toward the quarterback on his own. He leaps and is airborne, and he gains firm control of the ball at about the line to gain, but he lands and completes the catch at the 18, and he's first contacted by the defender there. Now, the defender continues to drive the receiver back, but the progress point here is where the defender contacts the receiver and begins the drive back. Now, with the receiver was coming back to the ball on his own, and in this situation, we cannot give the receiver a progress point where he first gained firm control of the ball. Replay comes in. They're going to overturn this spot to short of the line to gain. Good job by replay. Play 7, the offense has 2nd and goal just outside the 1, and they're going to throw a pass to number 9 coming out of the backfield, and it's complete for a touchdown. Now, we've got a flag from our back judge for offensive pass interference, and as we look at the replay, we see the outside receiver, number 3, he comes back in and solidly blocks number 22, who was assigned coverage for the receiver. Now, the crew comes together to discuss this, and they determine that the pass did not cross the line. And we know to have offensive pass interference, the pass must cross the neutral zone, and the block must be beyond the neutral zone. But number 9 here clearly touches and catches the ball behind the neutral zone, so the crew properly waves off the flag. And we get an excellent announcement from our referee.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball was caught behind the line. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Our referee is left totally in the dark here. And many stadiums, as we know now, have these digital lighting systems, and they can change colors or flash them on and off. And with the rule change last year, these lighting system operators are now subject to the rules, and they can't create a situation that obstructs play. And we want to continue to work with game management on this, but this may not be a time to go totally dark, as both teams need to know their opponent's personnel on the try to make any adjustment that might be necessary. So let's take control here. If we need to stop and delay the game or whatever, let's do that. But let's work with our game manager to correct situations, and only if it's flagrant would we ever consider flagging one of these lighting system operators. Our last play this week continues with game management situations. We had a drone incident near the end of one of our games this past weekend when a drone flew over the field and it was not clear who was in control. Media reports were that a drone from one of the athletic departments went rogue after they lost control of it. And there was a similar incident in an NFL game this past weekend. So I just wanted you to have the guidance in case you encounter a similar situation. Our current policy and interpretation is that drones are not allowed over the field or team area. Outside the limit lines, game management can make any decision on drones as long as they meet all FAA, state, and local laws. But the crew here did a good job. They stopped the game until the drone was no longer over the field or team area and was not a threat to any player. So good job by the crew here. Let's be prepared to react if we get this type situation. Well, that's it for our plays this week, and I hope these play situations are helpful from a rules and officiating philosophy standpoint, and use them in your pregame. Now, let's get ready to go to work. We want quality fouls as always, no ticky-tacks this week. Great communications, always use your winning words, be good dead ball officials, and let's display integrity, courage, and poise. Let those tight situations reveal our true character. Now, best of luck to all this week. A prayer for all those dealing with Hurricane Ian, and please stay safe and healthy.